Today we are speaking with experts from three different jurisdictions about the latest trends and developments in marketing in different jurisdictions. So I'm more than happy that we have Xavi Muñoz from ECIJA on the panel, Jan Feuerhake from Tyler Wessing, and Stefano Sbordoni from Sbordoni and Partners. Xavi is one of the leading experts on the Spanish market. Jan Feuerhake, a well-known professional and lawyer on the German market, and Stefano, one of the most well and most experienced lawyers on the Italian market. So my first question goes to Xavi.
Okay, good morning.
Hello. So we know that there were changes this year in the gambling market in Spain. So what is the current situation regarding gambling marketing in Spain, and what changes are expected?
Thanks, Jochen. Good morning to everyone, first of all, and thanks to Leaders in Compliance and to Chevron Group and the other organizers. And yes, the Spanish market is at a very particular moment at the moment because, as some of you probably know, uh, the Spanish market in the year 2020, there was a regulation that prohibited most of the publicity. So it introduced in the regulations a lot of restrictions, like you could not offer bonuses, you could not do publicity online or only in very specific websites. Only websites with gambling content. So it was very, very specific, or you could not use famous people or do advertising on social networks or video platforms such as YouTube. So this was introduced in year 2020. And just last April, there was a decision from the Supreme Court that revoked some of those articles. So the ones that I mentioned, like it it revoked these prohibitions on giving bonuses, on publicity online, on social networks, the use of famous people. So basically it revoked some articles of this royal decree. So the situation now is that operators are doing this type of marketing. So the marketing now is good for the acquisition of clients. So there's all operators are offering bonuses, and the question now is okay, for how long is this situation? How long it's going to last? Okay, and there's various theories about that, but in principle, we think our opinion is that the government will prepare a new law and will still introduce restrictions to publicity. But we think this will not be before, maybe between 1 and 2 years. So we think this will take time for the government to approve a new law and to reinstate restrictions. So on one side, we think it's going to be between 1 and 2 years, and on the other side, we think that the restrictions are not going to be the same, and hopefully they're going to be softer than what it was initially established in 2020. We think now there is a window for the political parties, but also the sector, the gambling sector, to talk to the government and the legislators, and if they're going to do a new law, try to make it, not so restrictive as it was before. And on this, I just wanted to add that in this new law, there's some other projects in the way, like the regulation of loot boxes, and also there's some regulations on the control of deposit limits. Trying to make them centralized for all operators. So I think this new law, will have to be in conjunction with these other things at some point. Also, just recently, there was a law on influencers that was just published, saying that some influencers had to register at the public registry in Spain. Those that earn more than 300,000 euros, or an audience above 1 million people of audience from the same platform, or 2 million from different platforms. So I think the Spanish gambling sector, when it comes to publicity, it's going through some changes, and this new law will still, hopefully, will still take some time. Johan, I don't know if I'm going over my time.
No, thank you. But I think this information were really relevant for investments in the Spanish market, and some of the developments we have seen exactly like this already in Germany. So here we will hear more from Jan afterwards. So my next question, Xavi. Oh, Stefano. Oh, sorry. So next question is for Stefano.
Yes.
Thank you, Xavi.
Thank
So,
you.
Stefano, there is a massive change actually upcoming on the Italian market in autumn, and this will change the whole landscape of gambling operators in Italy. So, what is the current situation regarding the gambling market in Italy, and what changes do you expect with the changes in autumn?
Yes. Good afternoon, Jochen. Thank you very much to you and to everyone in the organization of that very interesting event, and I think very relevant. Yes, what we heard from Xavi just now is so important, because we have, as Italians, always been so proud that we have having anticipated the regulation, especially on online gaming all over Europe. Now it seems the turn of Spain and Germany, and I'm very happy about that, because what Xavi just said, I'm sure will be taken into consideration by our government. You were mentioning the autumn events in Italy upcoming. The first one is the tender for online licenses. This has been stated in a law, in a decree of the government, and it's provided for a tender to happen in the first months of the next year, but launched before the end of this year. This means that operators will have to apply or show their interest before the end of the year, as far as the regulator is advising. And from the news we have from the relevant sources, institutionally and from the market. As you all know, probably, the main point very discussed is that this license has a very relevant and important entrance fee of 7 million euros, as compared to the previous one that was 200,000 euros. So a revolution, but and this has been objected by associations and operators of medium small size, and even abroad, by all those that were interested and are still, I hope, interested in entering the market. Nevertheless, on a marketing side, this will be accompanied by some changes. I am not announcing something concrete, but the expectation is all over. So what Xavi just said for the Spanish market, the loosening of restrictions of publicity is an expectation of the market, because, as you logically understand, such a high entrance fee has to be accompanied by chances of marketing. Otherwise, it would be a very hard challenge for the operators. The online gaming tender is a first step of overall reform of the whole gaming sector. We are expecting now the second and the third decree on the reform that will take into consideration and will deal about the offline market, terrestrial, and the sanctions and the way in which the regulator applies his rules towards operators that are not complying with this new set of rulings. We are also expecting a regulation on the marketing that is Italy is always peculiar in some in a certain sense. We have a huge offline marketing of online marketing and of online licenses. These are called PVRs, so points of recharge, where you can subscribe your contract and when you can recharge your client account. These are on the territory, and this will be regulated as they have not been cancelled by this reform. And we are all waiting for some definition of the rules. There is something already in the decree, but I don't want to take too much of your time.
Thank you, Stefano. We were discussing in the morning already e-money and gambling on the German market. So I think that the operators with an e-money license like ECIJA with Muni, that they have a big advantage, that they are bound to the financial regulation and not to changes in the gambling regulation. And maybe one of I can add also to the retail market that the changes which are planned or which were like suggested would include a change of the hardware setup of the terminals, so of the slot machines, which might cost up to €1,000 per machine. So it's a massive investment into the market if you think that there may be 40,000 machines on the Italian market.
Yes,
so there are big changes ahead. Thank you very much, Stefano.
Yes.
Now we are speaking to Jan, and I'm looking forward, Jan, that we are hearing from you maybe some information about the evaluation document which was published last week, and there were some comments in the evaluation document which would add what Xavi said, how gambling restrictions and the regulation actually is working in Germany, and some of the German restrictions, they might come in other jurisdictions as well. So what is the current situation regarding gambling market in Germany, and what changes would you expect?
Hi, Jochen. Thank you very much for inviting me and having me. And thank you very much for this question. As I think you and most of the participants will be available, even the current restrictions on marketing in the German market are very strict.
And I can't hear you. Maybe is it just me or?
Okay, sorry. Technical problem. Hello?
Yes, now you're back, Jan.
Sorry, there was a problem with my sound. Sorry. Again, hello, and sorry for the technical difficulties. The restrictions on the German market for marketing are already very strict, with limited time slots, for example, for slots advertising during the nighttime, with affiliates marketing being regulated in a fashion that doesn't match the classical business models, meaning that only a fixed rate but another revenue percentage may be paid. and with a lot of enforcement about all the other rules around marketing at the moment. Specifically now during the Euro Cup, the authority is enforcing this to a very large degree. You mentioned the recent report by the GGL and the respective federal states in Germany that has just been released last week. We see in that report two developments that I think are somewhat concerning for gambling operators and companies involved in the marketing of gambling products. One, as we see a decline of revenues in the German licensed market, we also see a reduction of spending in marketing. So from the highs that after opening in 2021, the German gambling market experienced for marketing spend has come down to a large degree in line with the revenues, which have also declined in the licensed market because there's a huge draw to the black market. And the second aspect that this evaluation gives is kind of an outlook of what's going to come. And contrary to what I think is needed in the German market, what is being discussed in this is more restriction on advertising. Specifically, it is considered whether gambling advertisement, specifically sports betting advertisement during live games, should be completely prohibited. This is at the moment only allowed for so-called umbrella marketing, meaning you cannot advertise a specific bet on a specific game during the live broadcast, but only you can advertise the brand. And even this is considered to be blocked now. Furthermore, the authority is looking into whether or not to limit sponsorships. At the moment, the interstate treaty on gambling that governs the marketing in Germany distinguishes between marketing spend, advertisement, and sponsorships. And sponsorships are regulated in to a much lesser degree. They are pretty much possible without any real restrictions, except that active participants in the game may not be used for advertisement. Other than that, sponsorships are very widely accessible. Now they are discussing whether or not to limit sponsorships and have them under the same strict regulation that they have advertisement. They are also considering whether or not to limit sports betting to the same time slots that have also been applicable to slots, and meaning that slots gambling or casino gambling may only be advertised at night, and they were considering it the same to do also for sports betting. And there is even a political discussion which is not included in this report, but which some of the federal states are raising, which are lobbying for a complete ban of sports betting and gambling advertisement. So at the moment, the regulatory developments are very concerning. High regulatory standard already now, a large degree of enforcement against the licensed market, and an outlook which looks at those rules becoming even stricter than they are at the moment.
I think there was maybe we can add that against when there was a proposal to reduce the possibilities of sponsoring, that all the stakeholders were against it. So also from the sports side, there was a clear statement that the sponsoring makes sense to finance sport. And maybe a last word to the if we have game studios or game developers in the audience, there might come something like a B2B license, which is not called like a B2B license, but there might be a possibility to have one game approved by the GGL, and then the game does not have to be approved per license, per B2C license as before.
Yes, that would be a big improvement, as this all operators and game providers that are active in the German market is a big problem. These games permits, which take a long time and are very much of a hassle. So that would make it the life easier for the regulator and also for the operators and games providers in the market. So I think this is a positive step.
Super, thank you very much. I think there was some really useful information. Thank you very much, Jan. So,
Thank you.
Yes, so next question. So, this is a question to all of you. Based on your experience, what are possible ways for licensed operators to deal with marketing restrictions while remaining compliant with the prevalent regulations? What we heard about sponsoring or advertising in live games, that's not possible in Italy since a long time. And here there were really creative solutions for this. So maybe I would like to ask you, Stefano, first to this question.
Yes, thank you, Jochen. Yes, creative solutions. We gave a proof of that with the .news websites, where, of course, interpreting the guidelines of the authority for publicity that were declining or let's say were specifying the ruling of the dignity decree that was the total ban, is still the total ban for publicity, have read the possibility of promoting the name, the brand of the operator more than the games themselves through advertising, not advertising, but communication and information to the public. So, and this was a kind of revolution because, of course, all in a sudden, there were a lot of new press agencies or, let's say, information websites created from the night to the morning. Nevertheless, this is in fact the effect of too strict regulations, as the total ban on publicity in Italy is. So, to answer your question, yes, there are ways for licensed operators to deal with marketing restriction while remaining compliant. These ways will change on the basis of the information I gave you before. The new ruling on the online licenses, because the main area where all these restrictions are applied is online, because offline terrestrial advertising depends on how spread are you on the territory. Of course, this gives an advantage to operators that have big networks on the territory. But for online, newcomers suffer very much from this restriction. But as it has been shown for the information tool, let's call it like that, there are ways, legal-wise, of course, perfectly legitimate to deal with marketing restrictions.
Thank you, Stefano. Maybe for Jan, let me rephrase a bit the question, because you were mentioning affiliates before. And there's still the concept possible of white labels in Germany using different URLs with different brands with one license. But the responsibility or the question is, does the responsibility for the marketing of these white labels, does this fall also under the liability of the licensee?
Yes, so I can answer that question both for affiliates and for white labels. So for white labels, it will be even clearer that marketing activities of those white label partners will fall under, likely fall under the responsibility of the licensed entity. The same is true also for affiliates. Since a long time in German case law, even independent of gambling law, there is responsibility of those that use affiliate marketing to some extent to provide guidelines to those affiliates using this marketing to at least show to the authority in the event that one affiliate or one white label partner steps out of line, to show what the specific instructions were with regard to marketing and how the content can be marketed. Meaning, if the gambling operator, or in any case, for an affiliate or white label partner, fails to show that it has issued compliant instructions to the respective advertising partners, then they also may be liable for the marketing measures of such an affiliate. Specifically, the license provisions in Germany provide for an explicit liability of affiliates if they also provide advertising for illegal black market websites. So this is a way that the authority tries to ensure that marketing is concentrated on the licensed market by making it illegal for affiliates to advertise unlicensed and licensed gambling at the same time, and making the gambling operators, meaning the license holders, responsible for this.
There was still some ways how to advertise for illegal and legal operators through a similar way, like in Italy, through news content, and the DGA were not able to stop it for now, because it falls under a different regulation to, as long as it's a news and not just advertising. So we have one Slido question. I would maybe use the opportunity, and that this question goes to Xavi.
Okay, is there a
Yes, please.
Go on. Sorry, Jochen.
Is
Okay,
there
connection between marketing restrictions and black market growth? Do we have specific figures? Okay, yes, there is a connection, but also linking to your previous question. I mean, the frame in Spain is that the regulator is very stringent in controlling the market, and it imposes quite high fines. So going to your question, ways to the previous question of how to overcome the marketing restrictions or circumvent maybe sometimes it's while complying it's difficult. And also in connection with this question as well, illegal gambling, it's also a bit difficult in Spain, because as I said, it's difficult because the Spanish law says that any company helping on illegal gambling is jointly liable and responsible for all the the cost of that company. Even lawyers, not only lawyers, but Google, payment gateways, banks, anyone that takes publicity from them. So anyone is jointly responsible. Anyone who collaborates with illegal gambling. So this, of course, makes the all these third parties, from lawyers to banks to advertising, agents that, to keep away from illegal gambling. Of course, they find their ways. You can connect with a VPN and this and that, professional poker players or people that wants to play without restrictions, they find their ways. But this is quite a restrictive percentage of the population. And also on these two topics, because the Spanish regulator is.
To stop you a bit, Xavi, because we have already reached our time.
Okay, thank you.
it was an interesting information because the evaluation paper published by the DGL is saying something very similar. They are trying now to get in the ISPs and the banks and payment service providers in the gambling regulation better than it was done in the past. So thank you very much, Xavi. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Stefano. It was a pleasure to have you on the panel.